The magical golden rose. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills and deep, ancient forests, there lived a young girl named Lyra. She was known for her kind heart, her love for nature, and her endless curiosity about the world around her. She spent her days tending to the family's garden, helping her mother with chores, and running through the wildflower meadows that bordered the village. Her favorite place in all the world was the forest that lay just beyond the meadow, an enchanting place where tall trees whispered secrets in the wind, and the air was thick with the scent of pine and earth. One crisp autumn morning, as Lyra wandered deeper into the woods than she had ever dared before, she stumbled upon something extraordinary. Amidst the tangled underbrush, hidden beneath a canopy of golden leaves, stood a plant unlike any she had ever seen. Its slender stem was delicate yet strong, and at the tip of it bloomed a rose. But this was no ordinary rose. The petals shimmered with a soft, ethereal glow as though they were made of spun gold. The flower sparkled like the first rays of dawn, and its fragrance was intoxicating, filling the air with the scent of honey and warm summer breezes. Lyra knelt down, her eyes wide with wonder. She had heard stories of magical plants, of enchanted flowers that could grant wishes or bring about great changes, but she had never imagined she would find one herself. Without hesitation, she gently reached out and touched one of the golden petals. The moment her fingers brushed against it, a soft voice echoed in her mind, as though the very plant was speaking to her. "Child of the earth, you have found the golden rose," the voice said. "It is a gift of great power, and it will change your life in ways you cannot yet understand." Lyra's heart raced. She had so many questions, but the voice continued, unbidden. "To those pure of heart, the rose grants wisdom, strength, and courage. It reveals the truth hidden in the world around you and within you. But be warned, for such gifts come with responsibility. You must use them wisely, for every choice you make will shape the world in ways you cannot yet see." Lyra looked down at the rose in awe, her mind racing with the possibilities. She had always dreamed of doing something more, something meaningful, but she had never known how. The promise of wisdom and courage felt like a key to unlocking the world's mysteries. "How do I use it?" she whispered aloud, unsure if the plant could hear her. The voice was kind, yet firm. "The rose will show you the path, but it is up to you to walk it." With that, the golden glow around the rose intensified, and Lyra felt a surge of warmth fill her body. She stepped back, unsure of what to do next, but the voice's final words echoed in her mind. "Trust yourself, Lyra, and you will find your way." Lyra returned home that day with a heart full of wonder, but also with a lingering feeling of uncertainty. She wasn't sure what had just happened, or what the golden rose really meant for her life. As she walked back through the forest, she noticed that the world around her seemed different. The trees were more vibrant, their leaves shimmering in the sunlight. The birds' songs were clearer, almost as if they were speaking directly to her. Even the air felt alive, like it was pulsing with energy. The next morning, as she tended to her garden, something remarkable happened. Lyra noticed that the plants in her care, once ordinary and dull, were now flourishing like never before. The flowers bloomed in bright, vibrant colors, the leaves were thick and glossy, and the soil seemed richer, as though nourished by some unseen force. She smiled in awe, but she couldn't help but feel that there was more to it than just the magic of the rose. It was as if the rose had awakened something in her, something deep inside her, a connection to the earth, to nature, and to the world around her. She could almost hear the plants speaking to her, guiding her on how to care for them, what they needed to thrive. Over the next few weeks, Lyra's life began to change in small but profound ways. She became more confident in herself and in her abilities. She found herself offering advice to her fellow villagers, guiding them in ways to improve their crops, heal their sick animals, and even mend broken tools. Her wisdom seemed to come from nowhere, as though it had always been there, waiting to be discovered. One evening, as Lyra sat by the fire, her mother asked her, "Lyra, you've been so different lately. You seem brighter, more at peace with yourself." What's changed? Lyra smiled, a gentle smile that carried the wisdom of 1,000 lifetimes. I've learned to listen, Mother. To listen to the world around me, and to listen to my own heart. Her mother looked at her, puzzled but proud. I don't know what it is, but I'm glad to see you so happy. It wasn't long before Lyra faced her first true test. The village, like many others in the kingdom, was plagued by a terrible drought. The rivers were running low, the crops were withering, and the people were losing hope. Lyra could see the fear and desperation in their eyes. She had heard whispers of a mysterious spring deep within the forest, said to have the power to bring water to the land. But no one had dared venture there for many years, for it was guarded by an ancient and fierce creature, a lion with golden eyes who protected the sacred waters. Most of the villagers had given up on the idea of finding the spring. But Lyra, her heart full of courage from the gifts of the Golden Rose, made a decision. She would find the spring, not just for herself, but for everyone in the village. She knew the task would not be easy, but she felt an unshakable certainty that she was meant to do this. The journey to the spring took her deep into the heart of the forest. She encountered many obstacles along the way, steep cliffs, tangled vines, and dark, shadowy paths. Yet, each time she faced a challenge, she felt the wisdom and strength of the Golden Rose guide her. The path seemed to open before her, and the obstacles that once seemed insurmountable now felt like mere stepping stones. Finally, after many days of travel, Lyra arrived at the sacred spring. The golden-eyed lion stood watch over it, its majestic form glowing in the moonlight. The lion's eyes locked onto hers as she approached, and for a moment, they simply stared at each other. Lyra's heart pounded in her chest, but she stood her ground. I've come for the water, she said, her voice steady despite the fear that threatened to rise in her throat. The lion tilted its head, as though considering her request. Then, it spoke in a deep, rumbling voice that echoed in the stillness of the night. Many have come before you, seeking the water, but only those pure of heart can receive it. Tell me, child, why do you seek the water? Lyra took a deep breath. I seek it not for myself, but for my village. We are suffering, and I believe this water can save us. The lion studied her for a long moment, its golden eyes filled with an ancient wisdom. Finally, it nodded. You are brave, and your heart is true. You may take the water, but remember this. True strength lies not in what you can take, but in what you are willing to give. With that, the lion stepped aside, allowing Lyra to fill her water skin from the spring. As she did so, she felt a surge of energy fill her body, as though the very essence of the forest and the spring were merging with her own spirit. Lyra returned to the village with the sacred water, and it wasn't long before the land began to heal. The crops flourished once again, the rivers swelled with fresh water, and the people's spirits lifted. But Lyra had learned a deeper lesson on her journey. She realized that true power didn't lie in the gifts she had received from the Golden Rose. It lay in the choices she made and the ways in which she used those gifts to help others. Over the years, Lyra became a revered figure in her village, not because of her wisdom, her strength, or her courage alone, but because of her ability to share those qualities with those around her. She became a teacher, a healer, and a guide, helping others to find their own paths and to unlock the wisdom and strength that lay within them. And as for the Golden Rose, it continued to bloom in the heart of the forest, its golden petals shimmering in the sunlight. Lyra would visit it often, but she knew that the true magic of the rose had never been in the flower itself, it had been in her heart all along. The villagers would speak of Lyra's story for generations to come, a tale of a young girl who found a golden rose, and in doing so, discovered the wisdom, strength, and courage that lay hidden within her all along.